Hey everyone, so now that I've had these bumpers on my truck for a while, I wanted to give you a quick review and kind of a recap of what I've done here as well as my initial impressions. So first of all, I love the look. This is the Ranch Hand Sport Series full bumper replacement. This front plate right here is actually a C-channel 1/4 inch thick steel plate. It goes all the way around the front. As you can see, I remounted my Nylite 36-inch light bar on the front of this new bumper. It's simply attached to the punch plate. Speaking of the punch plate, as you can see, it has this oval shape to it, and Ranch Hand actually does that to mirror the Ford logo, which is really nice. On Ram and GM trucks, they do a very similar type of punch out to mimic the grille on those trucks. Has a nice receiver hitch, which is fully welded around and even straight through to the back. I have a 16,500 pound capacity on the winch mount, but I only have a 12,000 pound heavyweight series Warn winch in here, which is actually a pretty massive winch. And it mounts not only to this front structure right here, which goes from the bottom all the way to the top of this plate here, but it also mounts to this winch plate on the bottom. That's incredibly thick metal. One of the nice things about Ranch Hand bumpers is just the gauge thickness of this steel tubing that they use. It's much thicker than the competition. Not only that, they use these really thick metal bands that go around the front uprights as well. One of the benefits of Ranch Hand is that these are actually part of the structure, as opposed to some replacement bumpers and brush guards where this is really thin material and it's essentially only for cosmetic purposes. And they might even wrap it in rubber to make it appear more heavyweight than it really is. Something I would have liked is if this front part right here off the side would have matched the shape of the front fender here, because this is also designed to go on a 250 or a 350. You can see the profile of the front fender here sticks out considerably, and it's about 1.5 inches narrower right here than the actual front fender right here. And I'd really like to see a piece maybe that can mount here to make this part stick out slightly. I mounted these LED marker lights on the corner as well, simply to kind of add some depth there, also to provide a little bit of a light up front from the corners if I'm pulling out. From the side profile, you can see that the whole bumper assembly sticks out about 12 inches, maybe 13 inches off the front of the truck. It actually has a really good look to it. And another nice benefit is when you're looking over the hood, you can actually just see these parts sticking up through your vision, and it can give you kind of a marker of how close you are to an object. If you've been following Ranch Hand at all, you realize that they've changed their logo and their decal. I really like the look of it. It's very contemporary and it has a really nice, Texas feel about it. So here's the rear bumper. This is the Ranch Hand Horizon series. As you can see, it actually has little LED lights underneath these steps. It's really nice, and these little divots give it really good traction. What I did though was I added some of this traction tape across the top surfaces, because this is all smooth steel. And when there's condensation or any type of fog or humidity, these can get a little slippery. So I just picked up this tape over at Pep Boys. It's about $5 a roll, and I just coated these surfaces right here with that tape. Has a really nice Ranch Hand punch out right here. I plan on getting a silver metal backing material to put behind here to kind of make this area stand out a little bit more. One thing to note when you put your factory parking sensors back into the bumper, that if they're positioned side to side like they traditionally are in your factory bumper, these clevis mounts will actually set it off. So what you need to do is just rotate them up and down. It doesn't affect your ability to detect objects behind you, but it is just something you want to do just so these aren't setting it off. These lightings are all LED to illuminate your plates. And the metal that makes up this rear bumper is actually 7-gauge steel, so it's very thick, very robust steel. This rear bumper assembly weighs about 120 pounds. The front bumper assembly weighs about 270 pounds, with an addition of 130 pounds of weight by adding the winch. So onto the WeatherGuard toolbox. This toolbox is phenomenal. I love it so much better than my previous toolbox. I can't even really tell you how many more advantages. First of all, the locking mechanism is so much nicer. Secondly, the ability to unlock and open it from either side of the toolbox. Third, just the ability to prevent somebody from prying the toolbox open. Fourth, no condensation, no moistures getting into this toolbox. It's very well sealed, so you can keep electronics or other devices inside there that you might be worried would get wet in a traditional toolbox. It has a really good look to it. The diamond plate matches the diamond plate on the ranch hand front bumper very well. It's lighter than my previous toolbox. It has a much nicer finish to it. It's aluminum. You know, I can't really say enough things about this toolbox, and I'm really, really happy with this specific toolbox in my truck. I would highly recommend, and I'm not being sponsored by WeatherGuard, but I would highly recommend that you make WeatherGuard your next toolbox. Again, I've just been thrilled to death with all these upgrades, from the ranch hand front bumper to the WeatherGuard toolbox to the ranch hand Horizon rear bumper. I have the sport bumper up front and the Horizon in the back.